Внимание! Приготовиться к прыжку! Покинуть самолет!
Hello everybody, and today I will be reviewing the Soviet Premium Paratrooper Squad, which I believe to be the best squad in Enlisted. One thing to note with this squad is that although it starts out with an AS-44 for all the soldiers, it is one of the few premium squads which allow full weapon customization, meaning you could give this squad a BR-1 weapon all the way to BR-5, and it could play within those respective BRs, which differentiates it from most squads where they're only allowed one said premium weapon, meaning they're sort of locked to that one particular battle rating. This means this squad can be used in any battle rating, which means it can be used in any battle rating lineup that you have, which gives you more flexibility in terms of how you can use the squad, because if you buy like a BR1 or BR2 premium squad, you can only use them at that BR, and if you intend to, which is how I see most people play, as they just work their way through until they get up to BR5, that BR2 squad becomes obsolete once you unlock BR3, BR4, BR5 weapons, and then in most cases the premium squad weapon tends to be on par or worse than stuff later in the tech tree. So the premium squad loses its viability throughout. However, this squad is very different, where there is no premium weapon designated to this squad. So it allows you to be able to use a BR1 tech tree weapon, then when you unlock BR2, use a BR2 tech tree weapon, and so on and so forth till you get to BR5. However, when you buy the squad, it does start you out with a BR5 AS-44, which I think is also helpful because it can be a squad that you can use early on to help you with the grind. However, I don't recommend that. I'd recommend, if you're new to the Soviet tech tree, to just use a BR1 weapon with the squad until you unlock it, and keep just exchanging what weapon the squad has as you move up the battle rating. Because if you go into a BR5 match with just the squad being your BR5 and you have the default Soviet squads for the rest, it's going to be so much harder to grind, because you can really only get reliable kills with this weapon. The squad rather. A common criticism I hear with the squad is that you spend money to buy this premium squad and you really get nothing for it because you don't get any exclusive weapon, and their outfits themselves aren't that interesting, and so a lot of people think this squad doesn't warrant as high of a price tag because you really don't get anything special. But I don't believe that, because one thing is it's a paratrooper squad, and this is the only real way you're able to get a paratrooper squad unless they release one via an event, because there is no tech tree paratrooper squad. So I think you buying a squad, more of that is going towards actually getting the ability to use paratroopers opposed to the weapon itself. And I would also argue that the customization itself is also what you're paying the money for, because all the other paratrooper squads that are premium that you could buy, you can only use them in BR5. So I think actually the Japan one is BR4, I could be wrong, but you can only use them in the higher BRs. But the fact that you can buy this one squad and use it across all the battle ratings as your paratrooper squad, I think is utility in and of itself. And also, the AS-44 is a great gun. It's not that bad that you don't get an exclusive premium weapon, but the AS-44, I'd argue, is probably in the top 2 of the best premium paratrooper squad weapons. Like, I know it's a tech tree weapon, but it's still a great gun, and it's great for the paratroopers. So although you don't get an exclusive premium weapon, I think the AS-44 in and of itself is probably an S tier weapon for the Soviets, and I don't think you miss out much on not getting an exclusive weapon when you could use literally any other gun in Enlisted for this squad. Another important aspect about the squad is that due to the endless weapon customizations, you can kind of change the weapon to fit your playstyle when it comes to paratroopers, because in my head there's two different types of paratrooper squads. There's one that's like the land on the objective and try to just mow down all the enemies on the point, and I think like the US like Thompson 100 round mag squad, for example, is like that type of squad. Because the Thompson isn't that good at long range, but 100 rounds, if you just get one soldier that makes it on point, is able to unload his gun, you know, you could kill like 10 people on the objective easily. Or then there's like option 2, like the German paratrooper squad, where it has like the different FG-42 gun, where it's only 20 rounds, and it does do high damage for those 20 rounds. But you don't have that like on point spray potential, so that type of squad you could land in the back or behind the enemy and then pick them off from afar. So it's not like a direct assaulter squad, and it's more like a supporting role to help your other teammates actually capture the point. And I think this squad is unique because you can kind of pick and choose which one you want, because you could use like the AS-44 or like the Fedorov rifle to sort of be like more of an assault rifle and kind of play that picking off people from afar type of role. Or you could equip like at tier 5, for example, the PPSH, and then land on point and just unload all 71 rounds of your mag. I will say that the AS-44 I think is also a great land on point kill weapon, so you could probably use that as well. But when it comes to each BR, I think that there are really like two options, if there are two options per BR that you should use for the squad. And so I'm just going to go over which ones I think that you should equip to the squad per whichever BR that you want to use the squad in. So obviously for BR1, you can only use the PPD 34. You could use like a rifle with it, and there are some premium options, but I'm just going to talk about tech tree options here. So I think this is the best gun because it's the only gun. But when it comes to BR2, I think there are two interesting options. There's either the PPS-43, which is more of the like longer range SMG. It's a great SMG. There's virtually no recoil, and you're really only limited by your ammo count, which is very high. But the only other option really that you can use a BR2 is the PPSH-41 Obrez, but this is more of your get on point spray weapon, because you basically get a PPSH-41 at BR2. It still has like a decent sized mag, similar to the PPSH-41 box mag, but you don't get that as good of recoil because there's no stock and everything. So if you want to use this weapon, you kind of have to use it in the way that you'd land on point and try to get everyone, and no long range potential with this weapon at all. When it comes to BR3, there are two interesting options, in my opinion at least. There's the PPSH-41 box mag. It's a great gun. You get the PPSH-41 just with pretty much half the ammo that the BR5 one gets. It's still a great gun, high rate of fire. Surprisingly, a lot less recoil than you'd think for a weapon that shoots as fast as it does. Another new option for BR2 is the Uragana SMG, which is basically a PPS merged with a MP40. It fires at relatively the same speed as the PPS-43, but it's just, in my opinion, better in every way. It shoots a lot better, you know. I think it does the same exact damage because it has the same type of bullets, but it just, to me, I'd still use the PPSH-41 box mag, but to my knowledge, the only real difference is it shoots ever so slightly faster than the PPS-43. They have, I think, slightly less ammo in it, but you won't really notice it, and I still think the PPS-H-41 is a better weapon. But this gun does allow for more of that long range potential because it's not as violent of a fire rate and you won't burn through ammo as quickly. But it just depends on what type of playstyle you want to go with. For BR4, there's two options. There's the PPD 34/38 and the PPD 40. I think there's only one clear option when it comes to this, and this is the PPD 40. You know, you get that big 71 round drum mag. The previously mentioned PPD 34/38 does have a slightly bigger mag for some reason, but I think that the PPD 40 is just the best option to use at BR4. You will have to unlock pretty much into the BR5 bracket in the tech tree, but I think it's much better to just rush the PPD 40 and upgrade that. But while you're in the research tree making your way towards that, you will unlock the PPD 34/38. So I would use that gun until you unlock the PPD 40, and then use the PPD 40 at BR4. Then when it comes to BR5, which I had previously mentioned, I think the best option for that land on point and kill everyone style is the PPSH 41, you know, classic, big magazine, extreme high rate of fire, just mows everyone down. And then for more of that shooting them from far away style, I think my favorite option would be the Fedorov automat, but I do think that the AS-44 does like the best of both worlds, where it's still pretty good up close and it still has that long range potential. So I would stick with the AS-44 just for like to have the best of both worlds. But if you like a particular play style, if you like that up close and personal style, use the PPSH-41 for the squad. If you like to pick people off from afar, use the Fedorov automat, because that gun just has the ability to two-shot people at longer ranges. And I feel like the AS-44, you don't have that due to the damage. And you'll definitely notice it where you just barely couldn't kill someone that's far away. And you won't have that problem with the Fedorov automat. But with that being said, due to this squad having a lot of gun customization and it being a paratrooper squad itself, I think those two main factors make this squad the best premium squad in Enlisted.